Well, Thanksgiving behind us now, so it's the countdown to Christmas now. Start talking about travel and getting together. So what about COVID-19, the flu and RSV? They will not be taking a holiday, and there's some new threats that we also need to be aware of. So joining us is our friend, our 9 Health expert, Dr. Kohli. So everyone gathered together for Thanksgiving. We may not even have the data on that for a little while. It's only been a few days, but is there a possibility we're going to see a post-Thanksgiving COVID surge?
We do expect it because we've seen it after all the other holidays. And it's funny, at our Thanksgiving family table this year, we said, pass the potatoes, not the virus. So we actually made a little saying out of it because we know that the respiratory viruses, flu, RSV, and COVID are very, very high levels. We have positivity of flu at 15%, 14-15%.
Where does that rank? I mean,
here in
comparative to
Colorado.
other years? I mean, 14-15%, is that high or low?
Substantially higher.
Okay.
And remember that positivity rate we want to keep below 5% to talk about something being well controlled, just like we talked about with COVID. As you said, the ICU beds with RSV are very full. We've taken off our masks. We're traveling all over. So it's the perfect recipe. It's cold outside. It's dry for these variants to spread. And we now have all these new, more transmissible variants.
Let's talk about those variants. I mean, you had to cringe a little bit when you're looking at these pictures from the airport. Are they, what do we know about them, these variants?
So these are called the Scrabble variants because they've got all kinds of letters in them. Yes. But in fact, the World Health Organization told us that they're all subvariants of Omicron. So that's the good news. They still fall within the Omicron umbrella or Omicron family, which means that bivalent booster, that Omicron booster that recently came out, should offer some protection. But the problem is we know that they're more transmissible, so they spread more easily. They're doubling very rapidly. We also know that some of our treatments that previously worked for other variants, like the antibody therapies, are not going to work on these variants. And we also are concerned about the fact that people that had previously been vaccinated and had a long time since they got their booster, which majority of the country falls into, because they haven't received that updated booster, are very susceptible.
So what's worse? To me, I think the 4 minutes on the train at DIA is worse than the 3 hours on the plane to Washington, Atlanta, or Chicago, or whatever.
Train.
I agree, Tom. and when I'm on that train, I try to hold my breath for as long as I can. And of course, I'm wearing a mask, which probably the only one on the train. But the point you're making is the proximity to someone else, the ventilation that's present, which in an airplane we know is very well ventilated, and the fact that people are talking and kind of moving in different ways, whereas in a plane you're all sort of sitting in the same direction. So the airflow is not widely variable, and you're not spreading droplets everywhere.
I look around, I see people's faces on the train, and there are people going, I don't want to be here right now.
And then they've got my voice saying, the
That's
train
the best
has
part
arrived.
of it. That is the best part. The voice of an angel.
I do love that.
So when we talk about vaccinations, though, okay, so let's say somebody's traveling for Christmas. When do we get the booster if you don't have the booster? Do it right now?
Yes,
Today,
now is
tomorrow.
the window, today or tomorrow, because it takes 2 weeks after you get that booster to build up. So I would say, of course, we're not going to not travel this year. We're not going to not see our family. But the way that we can do it safely, all of us together, is to increase those rates of vaccinations.
I want to ask you about public image, because I remember when people were trying to play down COVID at the beginning, many of them would say, it's just the flu.
Yeah.
Now people are saying, hey, I don't want the flu.
Oh no, not the flu.
There's a lot more fear of the flu. But I think right now on the fear scale, RSV, especially for parents, is at the top of the list.
But it's all about perception, Tom, because I wouldn't say I would rank one over the other, because depending on who you're talking about, who the host is, which variant you get, whether it's flu or RSV or COVID, one could be more dangerous than the other. So I think they're all equally threatening to our way of life and our health and having a nice holiday season.
And you could get all three.
You could get all three at once. And the rates of vaccination, I mean, we only have 12% of the country who's gotten their updated Omicron booster. We have millions of Americans this year who are not getting the flu vaccine that got it last year. So it's just, to me, the apathy and the perception is what's driving our behavior. We really need to embrace this as a real threat, but also as something that we can control with vaccination.
Big step for having happy holidays. Hopefully people mind the warning. All right, Dr. Kohli, it's always good to see you, and thanks again.